Chandrika Jaram from the Evolved Room. Welcome back to our channel. What if I told you that manifestation isn't magic, but your brain is? Many people think manifestation means simply thinking positive thoughts and waiting for the universe to deliver everything. But neuroscience tells a very different and far more powerful story. In today's video, let's discuss what manifestation really is according to your brain. Let's get started. Most people believe manifestation is simple. Think about money and money will appear. Visualize success and success will automatically come. Repeat positive affirmations and your life will change overnight. But when none of this happened, they say, I did everything. Manifestation doesn't work. The truth is, manifestation isn't magic, and neuroscience explains why. Your brain doesn't create reality just because you think about something once. It changes through repeated thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and consistent actions. Visualization without action is just imagination. Affirmations without changing your subconscious beliefs rarely create lasting change. Real manifestation begins when you rewire your brain, shift your mindset, and align your daily actions with your goals. So, the problem isn't manifestation. The problem is understanding how your brain creates your experience of reality. And that's exactly what we are going to uncover in this video. Have you ever noticed something strange? The moment you decide to buy a blue car, suddenly you start seeing blue cars everywhere. Did thousands of blue cars appear overnight? No, they were always there. The only thing that changed was your brain. Your brain doesn't simply record reality like a camera, it acts more like a filter, constantly predicting and interpreting the world based on your past experiences, beliefs, and what it considers important. Every second, millions of pieces of information compete for your attention. Since your brain can't process all of them, it filters out most of what you see and focus only on what matters to you. This is why your focus shapes your experience. When you consistently direct your attention towards your goal, opportunities, ideas, and possibilities that were once invisible begin to stand out. This is where manifestation truly begins, not by magically changing the world around you, but by changing what your brain notices within it. Change your focus and you begin to change your reality. Have you ever wondered why, once you set a goal, you suddenly start noticing opportunities related to it? The answer lies in a fascinating part of your brain called the Reticular Activating System or RAS. Every single second, your brain receives millions of pieces of information, but your conscious mind can only process a tiny fraction of it. So, your RAS acts like a powerful filter, constantly asking one question: what is important? When you repeatedly focus on a goal, whether it's building a business, finding a new job, or improving your health, your RAS begins highlighting anything connected to that goal. You start noticing people, ideas, books, conversations, opportunities, and possibilities that were always around you but previously went unnoticed. This is why visualization feels so powerful. It doesn't magically create opportunities, it trains your brain to recognize the opportunities that already exist. When you change what your mind focuses on, you change what your brain allows you to see. And sometimes that's the first step towards transforming your life. What if I told you that your brain is physically changing every single day? Yes, this incredible ability is called neuroplasticity. Your brain's power to rewire itself through repeated thoughts, experiences, and actions. Imagine walking through a dense forest. The first time, there's almost no path. But if you walk the same route every day, a clear trail begins to form. Your thoughts work exactly the same way. Every time you repeat a thought, your brain strengthens the neural pathway connected to it. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm not good enough, that pathway becomes stronger, making those thoughts feel more automatic and believable. But here's the exciting part. If you begin thinking, I'm capable, and support that belief with consistent action, your brain starts building a new pathway. Over time, the old pathway become weaker and the new one become your default. This is why manifestation isn't about wishing for a different life. It's about rewiring your brain first. Because when you change your brain, you change your choices. And when you change your choices, your circumstances begin to change too. What if I told you that your emotions are the missing link in manifestation? Neuroscience shows that your brain remembers emotional experience far more strongly than neutral ones. The key part of your brain, called the amygdala, acts like an emotional highlighter. It constantly asks, is this important enough to remember? The stronger the emotion, the stronger the memory. This is why simply repeating affirmations without feeling often has very little impact. But when you visualize your goals while genuinely feeling gratitude, excitement, confidence, or joy, your brain treats that experience as more meaningful. It's not about pretending your dream has already happened. It's about creating an emotional state that supports motivation, resilience, and powerful action. Think of emotion as the fuel that gives power to your thoughts. Thoughts tell your brain what you want. Emotions tell your brain why it matters. And when your thoughts, emotions, and actions work together, you're no longer just imagining a different future. You begin training your brain to move towards it. Because lasting transformation doesn't happen through thoughts alone. It happens when your heart and your mind are working in the same direction. What if I told you your brain can start preparing for success even before you take the first step? Yes, this is the power of mental rehearsal. Elite athletics, musicians, and top performers around the world use visualization as part of their training, not because it's magic, but because it's neuroscience. Researchers show that when you mentally rehearse a skill, many of the same brain regions become active as when you're actually performing it. In other words, your brain begins building and strengthening the neural circuits needed for that action. Now, visualization is not a replacement for practice. You cannot become an Olympic athlete by simply imagining it. But when you combine mental rehearsal with consistent action, your brain becomes more prepared, more focused, and more confident when it's time to perform. That's why athletes visualize crossing the finish line before the race even begins. The brain becomes familiar with success before their body experiences it. So don't just practice with your body, practice with your mind too. Because every time you vividly imagine success and then take action, you're training your brain to perform at its best. What if the biggest thing standing between you and your goals isn't your ability but your beliefs? Most of our beliefs operate below conscious awareness, yet they quietly influence almost everything we do. Our decisions, confidence, body language, persistence, willingness to take risks, and even our emotional reactions. Imagine someone who deeply believes I always fail. Without realizing it, they hesitate before taking action, avoid challenges, give up more easily, and interpret setbacks as proof that they're not capable. Now imagine that same person replacing that belief with I can learn, I can improve. Suddenly, they become more confident, more resilient, and more willing to keep trying after failure. Notice their circumstances haven't changed yet. Their belief has. And because their belief changes, their behavior changes. Different behavior leads to different results. This is one of the most powerful truths of neuroscience and manifestation. Your beliefs become the blueprint for your actions. So, if you want to change your life, don't just change your goals. Start by changing the beliefs that are shaping your behavior every single day. One of the most biggest myths about manifestation is that all you need is positive thinking. But neuroscience tells us that's only one piece of the puzzle. Real transformation happens when five powerful elements work together. First is attention, what you consistently focus on. Second is emotion, what feels meaningful to you. Third is repetition, the habits and thoughts you practice every day. Fourth is action, the small, consistent steps that move towards your goal. And finally, reflection, learning from your experiences so you can grow and improve. Here's the truth, thinking without action rarely challenges your life, and actions without changing your mindset often keeps you repeating the same old patterns. Lasting change happens when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned. Manifestation isn't about hoping for a different future. It's about becoming a different person through internal focus, consistent practice, and purposeful action. When your mind changes, your behavior changes. And when your behavior changes, your results begin to change too. Have you ever heard someone say, I tried manifestation but it didn't work for me? In many cases, it's because they changed their words but not their identity. Their repeated affirmations like I am rich or I am successful, but continued thinking, behaving, and making decisions for the same old belief. Neuroscience tells us that your brain doesn't change through a single thought. It changes through repetition, consistent experiences, and repeated actions. Real manifestation isn't about saying a sentence once and expecting your life to change overnight. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally creates the results you desire. Someone who thinks differently, acts differently, learns from setback, stays consistent, and keeps moving forward even when progress is slow. When your identity changes, your habits begin to change. When your habits begin to change, you change your behavior. And when your behavior changes, your results begin to change. So don't just ask, what do I want to manifest? Ask yourself, who do I need to become to create that reality? Because lasting manifestation begins with becoming, not just believing. Most people think manifestation works like this: think and receive. But neuroscience paints a very different picture. Real manifestation begins with a clear vision of what you truly want. That vision directs your focused attention, helping your brain recognize what matters most. As you repeatedly think about your goal, your brain begins strengthening your neural pathways. Over time, these new pathways influence your emotions, making confidence, hope, and motivation feel so more natural. These emotions shape your decisions. Better decisions lead to consistent action, and consistent action creates new results. Those new results strengthen your beliefs, reinforcing the identity of the person you are becoming. And gradually, your reality begins to change. Notice that this isn't a one time event, it's a cycle. Each positive experience strengthens your brain, making the next step even easier. So, manifestation isn't about wishing for a different life, it's about training your brain, aligning your mindset, and taking action consistently until your new reality becomes your new normal. That's the science behind lasting transformation. Before we end this video, I would like you to experience the science of manifestation for yourself. Close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath. Now, imagine one goal that truly matters to you. See it as clearly as possible. Notice the place, the people, the sounds, and every little detail. Now allow yourself to feel genuine gratitude as if you're already making meaningful progress towards that goal. Hold that feelings for a few moments. Now ask yourself one simple question. What is one action I can take today to move closer to this goal? Open your eyes, write that action down, and most importantly, do it today. Remember, visualization prepares your brain, but action is what creates results. If this video helped you to see manifestation from a completely new perspective, please hit the like button and subscribe to the Evolve Room for more science backed transformations content. Share your biggest goal and one action you will take today in the comments below. And if you would like my personal guidance to identify and transform the subconscious patterns holding you back, simply comment Discovery Call or reach out to the Evolve Room. Until next time, keep evolving because when you transform your mind, you transform your life.